Alright, so today on the go, we are going to revisit a little bit yesterday just because I noticed that my video didn't turn out exactly right. I had to take a phone call due to benefits and ended up like cutting my video off short. So the last day of grieving was due to seeing my ex-girlfriend on a date with one of my ex-friends, and it ended up sparking a lot of stuff in my mind, which caused a lot of negative talk, negative emotions. And also, please like and subscribe, share it, you know, it does help, and maybe this can reach somebody else and help them as well. So it didn't stop my day, it didn't end my time, it didn't put me in a position to where, you know, I couldn't think or process what needed to be done. It just created a little bit of animosity in myself, as you know, I started to tell myself a lot of bad things, you know, along the line of, you're not good enough, you're a loser, you know, you're way worse off than you ever thought. And you know, as those things started to come into my head, I got better at noticing them, noticing the way that my body was feeling, noticing the things that I could do to change my thought pattern, and it slowly got easier throughout the day. In the end, you know, I'm still working on all the stuff that I started off in the beginning, you know, procrastination, loss of emotional control, being unorganized, thinking the worst. All these things are stuff that I'm going to be working on for a while, as I've been doing it for 29 years, and it's going to take a long time for me to believe that I am that person, because right now they're just habits that I'm trying to create, and eventually it will be a part of my identity, as I no longer want to have these things that I can't well control. And so basically, the ex and the friend went on a date, and my kid was on the phone, and you know, they're out at Steak and Shake, and I lost it. I stood up, said out loud, you know, what a fucking joke. But as that day went on and the thoughts kept coming in, my thoughts would always revolve around, you know, those two, which would make me feel bad about myself, as I felt like I wasn't enough for somebody else. And as I kept going back and living that, kept asking myself, like, why do you think that you weren't enough? And I couldn't come up with that answer, because I was enough. I was more than enough, and I did a lot. And as I started to realize that, I started to, you know, come back to the real conclusion of, you know, she's hurt, and she doesn't know how to express love as I express love, very outward, and try to make the strongest connection with every person that I can, which leads back to another problem of setting boundaries and lines and not crossing them, because in reality you just can't be completely open and invulnerable to everybody around you, because you're not trying to be in love with every single person around you, but you need to be vulnerable to yourself. You need to let yourself in and not let outside stuff affect the way that you feel internally. You should never tell yourself that you're a loser because somebody else doesn't accept you. You should always tell yourself that you're learning and that you're going to do better every time that a mistake is made, and accept responsibility. Atlas! Accept responsibility for the actions that you've put yourself through. Because the only reason, come on, that you even have that person in your life is because, well, for me, is because I always wanted to fix the problems and I always wanted to help the people never experience a mistake and have to learn from it. And as much as I wanted to be that person, I was a problem. Come on. So moving off of that, as a day went on, I went out and I did a couple of orders, went and picked up my kid, did a few orders with her, took her to the hospital as she had a minor ear infection, caught it really early luckily. And moving forward throughout the day, as I kept catching myself, I would replace these thoughts. I would catch that first thought, as the first thought is always going to come through. You can never really stop that first thought. Come on, Atlas, I'll put you on a leash. And so that first thought would revolve around of, you're not good enough. And as I would catch that first thought, in the beginning, maybe a few more thoughts would come through, and then I'd end up catching it, feeling myself just feeling so terrible. You know, my body just not wanting to move, not wanting to do anything. My mind just constantly going down a path of disappointment. And later on in the day, before I went to go pick my kid up, I was finally able to catch that thought and realize it before it would get any worse, to where my body would just not want to move, almost be in a state of panic. And so moving forward throughout the day, I would catch that thought of, you're not good enough. Generally, that's what I would say to myself, is you aren't good enough, you weren't good enough. And it would be a key word. Instead of saying I'm not good enough to myself, I would change it over to you weren't good enough. And that key word is that weren't. That it is the past and you had made mistakes. And it's not about not being good enough for others. I wasn't good enough for myself. And that's where the real thing started lying in. And as I would have that thought, it changed itself over to, you weren't good enough. Which then made me feel like I could actually make a difference and a change in my life. And as the day went on and the you weren't good enough would hit, I would say, well, what are you going to do to be good enough now? What are you going to do to make yourself proud? What are you going to do to show your daughter that anything that you put your mind to is possible? Because the real thing that matters, and the most important thing, is you and yourself. It's not about your kid. It's not about your ex. It's not about your family. It's about you. Because if you're not important to yourself, you'll never be important to anybody else. Come on. You'll never allow yourself to be the person that you want to be, to where the importance will come out. So as the day went on, after I changed the you weren't good enough, or aren't good enough, to the you weren't, I started seeing more pride, more capability, more things that I could do, wanted to do. You know, start chasing the stuff that I love versus running away from the fears that just don't exist, like rejection. And I started adding to my morning checklist I started adding to the things that I want to do, making lists, and actually having those good thoughts be written down on paper starts to make them goals. It starts to make them something that you can achieve and be proud of, and not have those bad thoughts just constantly circulating your mind. I've always loved to sing, but I've been so afraid of rejection, and I'm not ready to sing in front of people by any means, because as that fear still sits there of being rejected by so many, even though I do understand that rejection is just it's a fake fear, I'm still scared. So that tension, that anxiety will end up causing problems if I do try to sing in front of other people. Make scratchy notes, not say the right word, just small things like that, which just brings on more fear and anxiety. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous just sitting here saying it out loud. But yesterday, I picked my kid up from school, and I didn't have my Bluetooth connected, and a song was playing, and I started singing it, and in front of my kid, I don't have the fear. I don't have the fear of rejection, and she accepts me for pretty much anything I do, anything I say. I'm the best at ever, regardless of if I'm making a mistake or not. She just thinks I'm the best at ever. So I always just have that feeling that she's always just going to be there and support me in anything that I do. And so I sing, I dance, I skip, I twirl, I talk to her and let her in, and she knows more about me than anybody in the entire world, and has for a long time. And so as I was singing and the song got over, she says, "Dad, wow, that was really good." And I looked back at her and I said, "Do you really think so?" And she said, "Yes, that was amazing, Dad. You're a really good singer." And I started crying, because my kid's got no reason to lie, no reason to hide these things. And I've always felt as if I was decent with moments of greatness in the singing. She reinforced that good feeling, and it's something that helped me through the rest of the day, especially move on from the past, as that's what I want in my future, to not care about rejection and not be afraid of what other people have to say, as there will be people out there who are going to adore and love everything that you do. And so as the day went on, we ended up going into the store, into Meijer, and we were just shopping around. I was waiting for a bridge card and her prescription to get ready from the ex for the bridge card. And as we were walking around, my favorite song comes on, and it was such a weird coincidence, but my favorite song is "Had a Bad Day." It's something that I wanted to sing in a talent show when I was in the Engadine schools up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And I was in 8th grade. And even though there were so many people that supported me, even though that I would literally sit there, listen to the song, and mumble the words on the bus to practice, to learn it, once it came down to it, I choked. I couldn't do it. I couldn't even walk up on stage. And it was always that fear of being rejected, abandoned, not loved by every single person out there, which is a ridiculous feeling. And so now we get home after this song, and I end up buying the food, not getting the bridge card from the ex-girlfriend. And I end up buying it all on my card, which just means that, it gives me a reason to go out and make even more money and try harder, which is fine. I forgive her, as she doesn't care about me or what I do or what I need. She doesn't. And so in that sense, why would I even honestly expect her to give it to me? So pretty much right away, I ended up forgiving her about all this stuff and said, all right, let's go and have a good night. And as I got home, you know, as we're driving home, there's some other songs that play. Me and the kid are just singing, having a blast. We get home, and she's pretty bummed that she forgot her Valentine's Day present bag from the school party that she had. And she opens up her backpack, and it's in there, and she is ecstatic and loves it. She pulls out her folder. I sit down, we go over all of her schoolwork. Straight A student, I mean, just star on every single paper. She is so much like me, just super smart and just so involved. And as I start going through it, this little pink slip falls out, and I was like, oh, what's this? And it's music classes where they do one-on-one music classes, and it's for all ages. And it's for you to learn whatever instrument you want, including piano. And they even teach singing as well. And the universe will really hand you stuff as you start to change your mindset, because that pink slip would have ended up in her bag no matter what. And it would have came home. But 2 months ago, I would have looked at that pink slip, and I never would have thought second about going and taking classes. I never would have tried to open up and be more the person I wanted to be while I was with somebody that just hated everything that I actually was. Or as I felt she hated everything, which is not true. It's just what I had in my own mind. And once that dropped out and I started reading it, I seen it as a calling, as for me to actually start to expand to the things that I love as time opens up and more of the stuff that I dislike, that I hate about myself leaves. I've got more time, because even if the stuff that I dislike is all inside and it doesn't really take much time, you start to realize as you change your life and start to fix yourself that your life really does revolve around your problems if you put them at the forefront. That you will sit there and think, you will second guess, which makes everything take longer. It makes everything feel less good. It makes you feel like you're not going down the right track, and you're pretty much skipping every opportunity that presents itself. So as that hit, I looked at my kid and I said, I'm going to go take piano classes. Would you like to come and maybe try a different instrument? And she said, no, I don't really want to learn an instrument, Dad. I said, okay, that's fine. What about singing? And she said, I would love that. So this next week that I don't have her, I'm going to be busting my ass to make as much money as I possibly can, so that way I can start these classes with her, whether it's once a month, once a week, whatever I can afford. I'm going to get us into this stuff because it's something that I love. It's something that makes me feel connected with myself. And it's something me and my daughter can do together. And once we achieve the goal, which is being good at something that we love, which is what everybody should be setting their goals at. It gives me more of a passion, gives me more of a feeling of freedom and peace. And I, as a kid, always looked at myself as being the intellectual, the one that's got a bookcase with every book in it being read before I bought a new one. And every time I walk in and I see that case, I can look at myself through that case, through that bookcase, and say, you're achieving who you want to be. I've always seen myself having a grand piano sitting in my house, not for looks, but so that way I can play once a day and just be at peace and love the thing that I achieved on a daily basis. I love dancing. It's one of the most adoring things, just letting your body fly across the room, connect with a partner, twirl, and just feel as light as a cloud, and just be so in love and in tune with your body. So breakdancing is another thing that I'm going to be starting to do, because there was a moment in the past where I knew this guy named Luis, and since then I don't have him on Facebook, and you know, he's not on there. I don't know how to get a hold of him, but he was one person that I probably should have listened to in the past, as he was a person that would have helped me achieve the stuff that I am trying to go for now 10 years ago. And I just wasn't ready. I wasn't willing to listen to him. And, you know, I really appreciate him trying so hard. Come here. Got people coming up. Morning.
That's one big dog.
Oh yeah, he's loving it out here. Come on, this way. And so, as life goes on, I start to see more and more stuff in my life. I start to see the people that, you know, I should have appreciated in the past, that I did harm to. And I'm just glad that I'm finally willing to change and get away from being the things that I don't like about myself, not the person that I am, because there's a lot that I do love about myself. So, moving forward, the more time that I find, the more stuff that I add. The more stuff that I add, the more that I love myself, because I'm adding stuff. And it's not that everything I add is perfect. And there is some stuff that I will probably add in the future that I will get rid of, because I don't like it and I thought I would. You know, as thinking back to childhood, I played saxophone, I played trumpet, I tried guitar, I tried drums. I didn't really enjoy any of the instruments because I was never going at the one that brought me peace. I was never going after the one that I actually liked to even listen to. Drums are loud, guitars are loud, they make screechy ass noises, and same with the saxophone, same with everything that I played. I just didn't enjoy them. But I would sit there and mess around with a piano, and even though I'm off key, off tempo, can't fucking hold a song together whatsoever, I love just hitting the keys. My kid's got a small little pink piano, and I'll sit there and mess around on that every so often. So just take a look at your past, because a lot of the times that's going to show you the stuff you loved and you skipped out on the opportunity to do these things because you were trying to do what everybody else told you was the right thing to do. Be true to yourself, because the more you are true to yourself, the more you're going to actually surround yourself with the people that are going to accept you for you. And you'll get rid of the people that are trying to turn you into what they want you to be. And on the go, that's really what we're about, is not about talking about our problems and our mistakes in our life. It's about finding those problems and talking how we can work on them, fix them, make them a past experience for learning to do better by yourself, to be better by yourself, to love yourself. It's okay to make mistakes, but it's also okay to learn from them and make less mistakes. It's also okay to do stuff that makes you feel good, even if it does end up causing pain in somebody else. Not saying go out and be an asshole, because that's never going to help. It's most likely going to make you feel worse. Hey, left. That way. That way. So on the go, spread love, spread joy, do the things you love, share it with us. You know, don't be afraid to be yourself and put yourself out there, because on this channel, that's what we're about. We're about love. So find the things that you hate. Understand that you don't need it in your life, and work on getting rid of it, as you only get one life, as you only get one opportunity to be the person that you want to be. So stop letting other people choose your opportunities for you, because what's right for them, it might not even be right for them. They just think it is. It is probably not going to be right for you. And you will find yourself surrounded by people, once you start doing the right thing for you, you'll find yourself surrounded by the people that are doing the right thing for them. And it's the same thing you're doing. But you can't make somebody else that doesn't want that in their life enjoy it and love it and continue to do it, because then they're just going to hate their life, hate themselves, and in turn hate you. So on the go, run towards your problems, grab them, understand them, and then forgive yourself. Accept that's what you did, but not who you're gonna be, and start to enjoy your life. Stop doing the stuff you hate and start doing the stuff you love. And on the go, we want peace, freedom, love, and happiness. And every single day, you can have all of that every day.